the good thing is no day is the same. Uh, the bad thing is you would want every day to be the same. Uh, but if you have that, then you will become very rigid.
Yeah.
So it's a chicken and an egg story.
Would you find in your current role and the previous roles that you were working for some organization, right? So how you evaluate that?
Frank, I'll tell you frankly, being a business owner is very lonely. And there were technologies that existed outside of the RPA realm that would do OCR or offer OCR services. For example, Abby being a great example. Microsoft used to have a plugin called Modi, Modi. I'm sure a lot of Indians will recognize the word Modi, but in the context of automation, it was my first introduction to something called OCR. In one large organization, you're using UiPath as well as Automation Anywhere as well as Blue Prism, because there are 5 different departments. Each one have their own.
Hi guys, welcome to the channel. And in today's podcast, we have Rajesh with us. Rajesh is CEO and founder of Automator, and with 25 plus of years of experience into automation, AI, and customer experience field. So, Rajesh, I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, thank you, Dipendra. Thanks for the opportunity. Hey, yeah, so like Dipendra said, I'm Rajesh. I'm the founder and CEO of Automator. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. Originally from India. Spent my childhood in Mumbai. Grew up in Mumbai, moved to Delhi, and then finally landed in Sydney. Been here. I call Australia home now for the last 7+ years. I've been in the automation space for a very long time, over a decade, thanks to some of the clients who are now friends who got me the exposure to the technology, especially RPA. My background was in contact centers, so I'm the non-IT guy talking and doing automation for the last more than a decade. So that's me.
Thanks for quick introduction, Rajesh. Can you tell me more about like your journey and what led you start Automator?
Okay, so my journey, like I said, so I started working in call centers at a very young age. I used to be the person taking calls out of hundreds of people. I kept growing up the ladder, kept performing well, and that led me to lead teams. I've been a trainer, training new batches of people coming in, or new trenches as we would call them, tranches will coming in, new joiners in our contact center business, training them. So I have a bit of training background thanks to the trainers that I learned from, and then of course going on to coaching, quality assurance, team leader, and then I kept growing up the ranks. I have had my stint with business analytics. At the time, it was called MIS. Now everything is called data analytics. But yeah, we would do all the reporting. So I used to lead that team, and then finally ended up in a role managing the entire back of house operations for one of our largest clients at the time in that company. And that's where I got introduced to the concept of automation, and that's how I kind of picked on that journey, on that learning, to make that part of my career. And that led me, like I said, to some brilliant opportunities with large organizations. Firstly, within the company that I spent 15 years, which was FIS, then with DXC Technology, then with a major BPO, Australia-based BPO provider called Pro Group. And during my stint at Pro Group is where this was right in the middle of COVID, and I was itching to do something by myself. I thought I could use all my expertise and knowledge of the industry, of the market, of the connections that I have across the world to kind of build up a business called Automator. And that's where I decided to, unlike a lot of people, I just took the plunge and came up with the idea of what I would like Automator to be, and just started it off with a very little saving. The company is still bootstrapped. It's been 3 years. Yeah, and the journey has been fantastic. So yeah, that's like I said. So basically, the idea of Automator was my hunger to do more than anything else. So I wanted to run a business. I wanted to see what it is like to run a business, and I wanted to I am a bit of a risk taker, and that kind of led me to starting up Automator.
That's cool. That's cool. And it's really nice that you're enjoying, and that it has been 3 years now. So yeah, we'll come to that later. But what are the your key product and offerings, like as part of Automator? What services do you provide, or what products do you offer to your clients?
Good question, and it actually helps me practice as well because I recently posted on LinkedIn about I posted a video of myself about the services we offer. So we've started, and so Automator originally started off as a marketplace for talent, focused specifically on robotic process automation talent, where we have over 1,000 people listed. Offering their services to companies that willing to use them on a temporary basis. But in the 3 years, we've kind of expanded. So now, and we've been doing a few things. So we now have some services as well as we offer certain projects. So let me clarify those. So number one, we are a staffing and recruitment company now across skill sets in software and IT, not just automation, which means if you're looking for machine learning engineers, data scientists, if you're looking for AWS architects, test automation people, people who do manual testing of software, you are looking for people with cybersecurity skills, you're looking for web designers, app developers, .NET developers, you name it, we can provide staff to you on either a permanent hire basis or a contract basis, and contracting being pretty common outside of India, as you would know. Our primary locations are Australia and India, so we have our own. We have a business set up in India as well. That's where we deliver offshore services from, and of course, we have clients within Australia who we deliver staffing and recruitment solutions to. So that's one. Second, we've started an interesting new service, which not a lot of people are aware about generally as a concept, but it's called annotation services. Annotation services is the activity of tagging data that has to be fed into an AI for the AI to learn. So tagging images, tagging videos, and there are different kinds of taggings, etc. Tagging text to enhance NLP models, etc. So we offer that service. So all of this is a manual activity, and lots of organizations that are building their own AI models, own machine learning models, training their own AI, would usually use these services. And those are the services. That's one of the service that we offer. Third, we continue to deliver project services, which means if you have, like in the past, we've had customers coming up saying we want to fix this particular automated process, or we want to build one automated process, but we don't want to hire an entire team. Can you get that delivered? So that's what I mean by project services. So in other words, people say custom software development. But you think of automation, you think of building an AI solution, you think of building a machine learning model, enhancing machine learning model, creating a data warehouse. Those are the kind of things that we can deliver on a project basis, either on a time and material or a fixed cost basis. And number four, like I said, the marketplace continues to exist. It's broader. We now have a larger talent pool with a varied skill set. And we've introduced a platform for service providers. So, for example, if there are other companies similar to us who offer services, we would like them. They can come into our platform and create their own page where they could hunt for customers as well. So, therefore, essentially, Automator is not a competitor to anyone. We are creating an ecosystem for everyone to flourish, which has been my philosophy from day one. When I started Automator, let everyone flourish, and we all grow together.
Thanks, Rajesh, for quickly introducing your product and services. Which of your product areas are receiving the major traction out of these? If you'd like to share that.
It is staffing and recruitment.
Okay.
Because a lot of customers prefer to have their own team set up. They want to do things on their own. So we kind of fill the gap, so to speak, within their team. That's our major service offering or major revenue stream. Projects is the second, bigger, but not as sizable as the staffing and recruitment piece. We've done some interesting projects with a couple of customers. Yeah.
Got it. So now, with over 25 plus of years of experience in automation, BPO, customer experience space, right? How have seen the landscape of automation evolve over the years? Would you like to throw some light?
Yeah. So good, very good question. Actually, I'm trying to think how to answer this. So I'll have to probably paint a picture before I kind of share my thoughts. Our audience understands automation from the RPA lens, robotic process automation lens. But when you go out in the market and you see there are so many products that deliver automation, right? For example, marketing automation tools. Zapier is also an automation product.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
is also RPA. But we kind of, stuck in our own bubble of automation, at least our audience, right? And the people we work with and network. So to me, that is the evolution in itself, where automation always existed before RPA. People used to run batch scripts. I remember there was a knock room, network operations center in our office on the same floor as we were. I would go there, obviously, when you had any tech issues. You'd walk into the knock room and you'd see that um, they're looking at CPU usages, network usage, traffic, etc., etc. And they would have certain scripts on a notepad that will be saved on their desktop, and they double click it, and that will run some kind of script that does certain things. I didn't know what they were, but I was fascinated by it. And again, these little things, they've now evolved into much more enterprise grade software solutions that solve different problems, right? So RPA solves a specific problem. Started off as a started off as a as a product or a solution to solve rule-based manual process issues in a business side, and thereby enhancing productivity or reducing cost of labor or being more compliant, reducing errors. That has now evolved into, and then came IDP solutions, which was OCR at the time, which was basic optical character recognition. And there were technologies that existed outside of the RPA realm that would do OCR or offer OCR services. For example, Abby being a great example. Microsoft used to have a plugin called Modi, Modi. I'm sure a lot of Indians will recognize the word Modi, but in the context of automation, it was the my first introduction to something called OCR, and then that became intelligent. So that's why it's called intelligent document processing. There's a bit of NLP, there's a bit of machine learning that's going into to extract information from unstructured documents or documents that don't have data in a structured format, or for that matter, both structured and unstructured. For example, invoices being structured and contracts being unstructured. And then the evolution has led to, I mean, Gen AI over the last 2 years, 1.5, 2 years, has now kind of taken it to the next level, where the standalone RPA solutions are now offering either plugins to Gen AI solutions or LLMs, or have embedded Gen AI within their own platforms using their own models, etc. So things have changed from where they were back in 2008, 9. So a bit of history again, right? So um, if you look at a product called Pega Robotics, I don't know how many people know, but Pega Robotics originally was OpenSpan. So I and they had a competitor product called Jakarta. So these are the two products that I first kind of got introduced to, even before learning about RPA. And there was there's I can talk about the first use case. I still remember that. But anyway, so from there it became Pega Robotics. Now Pega does a lot more things, and now imagine, and that was actually low code, no code, low code actually. It wasn't no code. It was a low code solution to automate things. On applications using the front end layer of applications, and that has now evolved to the advent of APIs, straight through processing, ERP systems embedding solutions within their platforms, like SAP has IRPA, which I think is called something else. ServiceNow having their own their acquisition of IntelliBot, having their own RPA solution or automation solution within the platform for the things that happen within ServiceNow, or for what it is used for. So yeah, the evolution has been interesting. There are a lot of players in the market. There's a lot to learn and know about, but it's impossible to learn about everything. So yeah, it's evolved for the good. And yeah, I mean, of course, suddenly there's this jump from automation, rule-based, automating rule-based manual processes to using AI to take decisions on behalf of humans or augment the human brain to come up with decisions and then take actions. So the evolution has been fantastic, and it's a great feeling to to have been part of that journey from, at least for me, day one being where I got introduced to a product like Jakarta and OpenSpan, for example, or a Modi within Microsoft for OCR, and then now looking at uh, GPT 4.40, sorry, 4.0. It's just fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, we are heading towards intelligent. I mean, we are already there in intelligent automation space. It's no more traditional RPA, which is you called out like rule based. So, along with rule based automation, we are applying intelligence on top of it using Gen AI capabilities, or for that matter, any of these AI technologies. So, there is a term called APA, which got introduced, right? Agentic Process Automation. So, where we
Hmm.
build where we build AI agents to do the work, and we just give prompts, and in the business language we can build the flows. So there are a lot being going on in the market, which is for good. Obviously people have to upskill themselves. They have to be very prompt in learning these things, because yeah, market is changing rapidly.
Absolutely.
Cool. Moving on to the next question that I have, would you like to talk about some key achievements that you have been able to accomplish during your 3 years of journey with Automator?
Okay, key achievements. As a business owner, every new customer, every new project, every new penny that comes into a business is an achievement.
Yeah.
So I think I can talk about interesting things that we've done, because yeah,
Mhm.
in terms of the business, revenue coming in is the key achievement. Keeping the business afloat is an achievement in itself. Keeping yourself
Maybe.
sane with all the stress is an achievement. So interesting deployments or interesting tasks that we've done
Mhm.
is what I think I'd like to share. One of them is one of our first customers. Actually, yeah, our first customer was a customer who was not an automation related customer. They were building an AI model, and they needed data scientists. So our first customer actually never bought any automation services or any automation talent from us. They asked us to find data scientists, and we had two data scientists from India working with the customer here in Australia, and we have a case study about. Our second customer was a consulting, not, yeah, I can call it a consulting company, but they seem to have morphed into or transformed into a product company out of the US, a brand, a fresh startup. They apparently built, they have now built automation solutions in the US healthcare market. So they've been very focused and targeted. So when they needed to boost their team capacity to be able to build those solutions, they reached out. So here we are in Australia, client in the US, three people at one point. Yeah, we had three people working for this client. One of them was based in Nigeria. Two of them were based in Vietnam. So that was an interesting one in the early days, and that kind of proved the point that you can actually get things delivered from wherever as long as you have the right talent and the right way of and thanks to the client actually. All credit goes to them for how they manage them. We didn't have to manage the people. It was the client who had their processes set up, their framework set up on how things have to be done. So it was a cakewalk for 9 months for them. So that's another one. The third thing, which was an internal use case, again, I've spoken about this in the past, where we built a solution for ourselves to solve our own problem. There was a point in time where we had to hire about 100 people for a customer, 100 or 200, I can't remember now. Although that project didn't fly, but the act of finding 100 people offshore, that being in India, for
Mhm.
example,
Mhm.
India, with the abundance of talent and the abundance of opportunities within India, it's a nightmare to get people hired on time quickly, get them interviewed, etc. So for that whole process, we built. I sat through in a couple of weeks. I realized that we have to drink our own champagne. I realized we had the HR team doing the standard process of posting jobs, finding talent, interviewing them, then organizing interviews with clients, and then the onboarding process, the whole 9 yards. And I realized time to market was very important for us as to how soon can a person be onboarded. So what can we do to improve that whole process, the time frame it takes, plus allow less leakage of talent? When I say less leakage, means people not taking on the opportunity because there was a delay in getting interviewed or so on. So imagine thousands of people applying for, 20 jobs, 20 roles, 20 different roles. How do you interview them with a team of two recruiters? That's where we built our own solution where we built three components came together. A bot that could download CVs from all the job sites like LinkedIn, Seek, Naukri.com, for example, in India. So we had a bot and we still have it. That bot just downloads all the applicants' CVs. Then we got one of our guys to build a machine learning and NLP model that extracts number one contact information from the CVs and their skill sets. If they've mentioned they have .NET, whatever. Although we couldn't fine tune that part, but we were happy with at least getting the contact information. So that was machine learning there or NLP being used there. And then finally, given that I love looking at products and trying them out, etc., I found a partner here in Australia. They have a voice-based AI solution. So what people think of chatbots, where you chat with the bots that interact with you in normal language, English, in a conversational model, a conversational manner. We used a voice AI agent. We configured it to take interviews. So now think of all these three things coming together, where the CV is extracted or downloaded, information is extracted, a spreadsheet or a CSV gets created that gets into the voice AI console. The voice AI has been configured to ask questions based on the skill set that we choose that they should interview, 5 or 6 standard questions. So we took away the original work, the initial work of sourcing talent. We reduced the effort of the team. Otherwise, we would have had to have a 20-member team to kind of get to that many people that applied. So that was, I think, that is a great achievement where we were able to use our own marketplace to find talent who can build a solution. I think my idea of having worked in the industry and having done so many automations, so we brought all our collective knowledge and experience together, and we built a solution that helped us. And we spoke about it. It's a shame that the AI solution company didn't choose to continue with that particular product. But if I have a chance, maybe I'll get it built again in the future. So yeah, that's an interesting one. The other interesting one is a travel company. Again, there are testimonials out there on socials about from our customers. They do curated experiences for travelers. So if you are a hotel, they will be your digital concierge. So that digital concierge needed workflow and automation and AI in the backend. Not AI, but a bit of machine learning to kind of, I would say, a bit of machine learning just to come up with some fuzzy logic of, what experience would you like as Dipendra if you go to this site, given your taste? Like, do you like to eat good food or do you like to do adventurous stuff? And these guys had a list. So how to bring it all together? That was a short, sharp engagement over a 2 to 3 month period. So that was again interesting and exciting for me personally as well to be engaged in delivering that solution using our talent pool.
That's cool. Those two use cases, I really like the one you mentioned for travel, and the other one for the HR, like pre-onboarding or right recruit sourcing, basically. Reaching out to the candidate is really a challenge for guys in out there in HR. Being a CEO, what is your day-to-day job looks like? Like what is a day in a life of a CEO, if you put it that way?
Okay. Wow. All right. No day is the same, but you have to kind of put a structure to your day, right? So the good thing is no day is the same. The bad thing is you would want every day to be the same. But if you have that, then you will become very rigid.
Yeah.
So it's a chicken and an egg story. So a typical day for me is, obviously, first thing is when you start your day, you look at what are the deliverables for the day in terms of what are the deliverables to the clients for the day, and have we met those deliverables for the previous day, and and how do things look like today or for the next few hours of the day or until end of day. Then gets down to prospecting new customers. That's the word I'm looking for since yesterday. So many conversations I've had, and I couldn't get the word prospecting. Yes, prospecting for new clients, meeting people. Have there are meetings booked out. Some days are absolutely free. Some days are back to backs. So essentially, spending time trying to win more business, and then the rest of the day is all about ideating on what next, right? What do we do with the
Mm-hmm.
platform?
Yeah.
Is there anything we can build? Learning about new things. Every day there's something that pops up which is new. GPT 4.0 has opened another door, and you're like, man, what else do you need to learn? Right? It's just moving so fast. So there's so much to learn, so much more than learning, so much to know about. Sometimes you think you have missed something. So keeping an eye out and just learning about things, having conversation. And again, you can have conversations with non-clients as well, like friends, colleagues from the past, trying to understand what it is. So that's the typical day for me per se. But again, pretty fluid. I can just move them around according to how the day goes on.
That's
That's
cool.
a tough question, actually. I
And what difference do you find? Like my follow-up question would be, what difference would you find in your current role and the previous roles that you were working for some organization, right? So how you evaluate that?
Frank, I'll tell you frankly, being a business owner is very lonely. I'm very lonely. And I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them will relate to what I'm trying to say. See, when you're in an organization working for someone, you have access to people. You have a security over you, right? You're taken care of. And then therefore, as a result of being in that particular business or that organization, you get access and network, and you're able to network with a lot of people. But as soon as you become a business owner, I feel, not deliberately, but you get deserted by people because they think that if you connect with them, you will try and sell something to them,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not true, honestly. It's just about keeping the relationship going, and of course something would lead to a business at some point in time, but then you forge friendships as well and relationships and so on. So what has changed for me is how to be a business owner and still be able to achieve the things I was able to do while I was employed. Which also which and there was a uh, the other thing is, when you're employed, you have access to so many resources, right? Because of the might of the organization you're working for. For example, depending on the size of organization you were in, you have access to so many resources, not just people. You can talk to vendors, you can talk to service providers, you can test things out. There is no risk, right? It's not your money, basically, right? But here you have to learn, you have to try and build something, whether it's a service or a product, all at your own cost within the business. So you have to manage the monies, and more importantly, there is a massive amount of risk involved, because if it doesn't work, you lose money. Whereas if you try a few things out within your organization, even if you lose, they have the might and the power and the money in the bank to kind of keep funding it, and you can always find a way out and deliver something successful. And the art of delivering a successful solution is not the first idea, but something I learned in uni. I've been an advertising student, a commerce student, so was it's always the fourth idea. This is what I was taught in advertising, that it's always the fourth idea that works in an ad. So if you see an ad, you should assume that that was the fourth idea they had, never the first idea. So in the case of the kind of things we do, where we build automations, etc., or come up with a new idea to build a product, your first idea will never succeed unless we are lucky.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be 10, 15, 40 attempts. And I remember the number 40 because we had this live web chat process where we actually did 40 different types of web chat services, and one of them succeeded. So it was all about trying things out, and we had the luxury to try them out. Again, thanks to the client and the leadership I work with, we got exposure to that. So yeah, you have to keep trying. So what's changed? The thing that has changed is it's a hard world. It's a very hard world out there and you are alone is as a business owner, and you have to kind of build everything from scratch. You have to build your relationships from scratch. Of course, thanks to some of the friends and colleagues, it wasn't that hard, but yeah, it's tough. So yeah, what's changed? Can't do things on the fly. Have to think through
Hmm.
everything because everything needs money. So the time to deliver something or build something out or new capability out, you wish you had more resources. So that has changed, I would say.
Yeah, that is. I mean, thanks for like having a conversation without a filter. I mean, very honest and very frank. I mean, audience would really like that because I mean, nobody will give honest answers to these questions. That's what I believe. Coming like with that, moving to the next question. What were your challenges like when you initially came up with the idea of starting Automator? How, like, it's not about the initial part of registering company, coming up with the brand name, but how about setting up a COE? How about finding talent and setting up your initial core member team? So what was your thought process at that time, and how did you manage the initial part of before like forming a company?
Um, so initially, when I came up with the thought, I have been thinking of setting up something for a while. I would say maybe 2 years before Automator actually started. Um, but it was never crystal clear in my head as to what we want to do, what I want to do, and so on. But when I made up my mind that I have to build something, that's when I started by putting a structure to what are the things that I need. So it, or let me take a step back. Once I realized what I want to do and what I want to offer as a service, and that was very clear in my head. So first thing was defining. It's again being a Six Sigma black belt. Everything starts with a D, right? Define, measure, analyze, improve, control, or DMA, DV. So I always start with the define. What is the problem we are trying to solve? So I came up with the problem statement that we will solve for the industry. And based on that problem statement, work backwards on what do I need to achieve and get to a point where this service or capability is available to customers or clients. So I worked backwards from there around, okay, so of course we need a website, the basics, right? The website, the name, the brand, how does it look, company registration, where is the company situated, costs associated with doing all of that. So that's the standard given stuff, which is the tough part as well, mind you, because you're looking at a certain amount of saving that you had, which you put into the business, and you suddenly see in a week it's half, and you're like, oh my god, we have to find some business. So, anyways, and then I came up with the thought that if it's a marketplace and if I'm talking about other companies finding talent to temporarily fill a gap in their organization, do I need to have employees in my business? And the answer was no. So I did everything alone, but there were people who helped me in this journey all throughout. There were people who came in at certain point in time to solve specific problems or to build certain things, like of course the website, getting access to. So there were 14 developers that I was in touch with, and I'm still in touch with, who have worked with me in my team. So I started with them first as my first list of people, and then from there started asking them to reach out to more people. So they got, each one of them probably got an average 5 or 6. And then from there, there were people who would automatically come up and say, "Hey, Rajesh, I know 20 people who would love to do freelance." I said, "Oh, of course, welcome them." So actually, it's the people who I started off with as the first set of developers listed on the platform. Those same people kind of helped in taking that number to, I think, the first 400 odd. And then after that, it was just organic because we started doing social media posts, etc. That was after the business started. So that's where we got to 1,000. And then when it comes to the business requirements around legal compliance, all of that, obviously used the right mentors and the teams and companies to do it. But otherwise, essentially did everything by myself. And then at strategic points in time, uh, brought in the people who could help in the business. And when we realized that That didn't work out, so they left the business, or I had to let them go. So yeah, you keep balancing things out, and that's how I run it. So yeah, the challenge has been to come up with all these ideas with limited funding or amount of money. Like I said, we are a bootstrapped organization still. We're not funded by any investor. I mean, of course, there are friends and family or angels, but apart from that, you have to be very careful on what you do and how you start up and who you bring into the team, etc. And what's the purpose they're going to solve, and so forth. So keeping those things in mind, taking those calculated decisions, calculated risks associated. So we failed many times, right? So that's the biggest challenge. That if you fail, you try one thing. We've tried organizations that promise leads, meetings. We've spent a lot of money. We've done conferences. We haven't made a single piece of revenue from any of the money that we spent in all the conferences in the initial year and a half, in the first 2 years. It's purely my network, the people I know, and then from there adding more people on, and some organic new customers coming in. That's how we built it. So challenge has been from all directions. It's all about how you manage it. Some cannot be solved immediately, so you have to carry the baggage. And some can be resolved quickly through negotiation, discussion, or actually solving the problem, or nipping it in the bud, for example.
That's great. I mean, you are able to sustain now for 3 years, and now I'm sure you have built that brand, and it's like now it's been a little easy for you to get customers or get those leads, right?
It is. It surely is. The awareness is there.
Mhm.
Again, I'm doing stuff on my go-to space is LinkedIn. I have a member in my team in India who does all other socials. He's a social guru. He does the SEO, etc. So, yeah, small team doing things for us. There's a small admin team in India as well. Here, I keep using people on and off, on a casual basis. So, like I said, so yes, the brand awareness is there. I would like to believe, and therefore, hopefully, we'll get some more customers coming in through the door.
Wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
So, coming to the next question, having worked in multiple countries, as and initially, like you said, you started with some guys from Vietnam, Nigeria, right? You have been working with multiple people across multiple countries now. So, how do you see the regional differences in adoption and implementation of RPA and automation technologies?
Okay, so in terms of the way automation is deployed, or any software solution is deployed, there is no difference. The frameworks are standard, right? There's a standard that everyone follows. What I have noticed is the cultural difference in how work is done,
Yeah,
right? How
yeah.
they do the work,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So there's a cultural difference, and then and with cultural difference comes, there's a massive issue, which I don't know how I can solve it, but I would like to. I can only all I can do is pass on the message to people out there who are very wary of using people who have a challenge with English as a language. So there are lots of people that I have interacted with over the last 3 years and even earlier, where no matter how great this person, this developer or BA could be, for some reason they don't get through, because these people think that it'll be very hard to communicate with them and it'll be very hard to get work done from them, which is absolutely rubbish according to me. I have never had, like I said, I've worked with people from Vietnam. It took me 1 week to get used to their accent, but they speak English. I've worked with people from Nigeria. They've got the heavy African accent. I mean, we come from India. We've got people across the country in India where the, the tone and the accent changes, but we know how to work with them. So we are kind of, built with it. So I think it's a lack of effort which causes a challenge, and which is where I think I'd like to believe. And at the same time, the US is pretty open. They don't care as much, how you speak, as long as the work gets done, right? Of course, you want people to interact with customers, and you want people who are able to communicate and explain things so that projects don't get delayed. So I understand all of that. Don't get me wrong there. But I think the biggest challenge most people have is where they find a language barrier, or they don't want to get beyond the language barrier. And I think if they can get that sorted out in their heads, that it's just a week's worth of effort of being on calls with them, listening in. But because if you read their emails, if you see the work they do, they are they are better. They are as good as anyone else here locally. For example, whether I'm in Australia or I'm in UK or US, any English speaking or non-English speaking nation for that matter. The amount of talent I've had the opportunity to talk to, the people, like there's a guy in Indonesia, he's a student, but he's a UI ARD certified developer. He trains others. He's so good. But unfortunately, no one picks him because of language challenges, right? So, and I feel sad. There's so many people out there who got fabulous talent, have great programming skills, their fundamentals are strong, have 6 to 7 years of experience, but they struggle to find a great opportunity because the people who are hiring have this notion of, oh, it's going to be hard to work with this person. I think they have to kill that notion, or at least work towards killing that notion. Is my thing.
So hopefully, it gets better there. That's what we can wish. And
Yes,
coming to the
yes.
next question, uh, it's mostly related to the future of automation, Rajesh. So, what would be your predictions for over a next? I mean, if not decade, but over a couple of years, let's say 3 to 5 years down the line, how do you see uh, the future of automation?
Future of automation. There are different ways to look at it, right? It's a very broad question to me. I would look at it from, let's say, if I'm an automation product company, what is my future? My future is right now looking very gloomy. I'm not too sure, but actually, I should not be worried uh, because the solution that I have solves a specific problem. The current new solutions that are there, like AI, Gen AI, right, which seems to have just uh, you know bomb blasted everything out. Though the Gen AI solutions will, if anything, actually help expand the reach of automation software, is my view. Yes, there's a talk about AI agents, etc. I've kickstarted a project within my business to build an AI agent for me. So yes, but then it is for time to tell whether AI agent will replace RPA, for example. So I'm giving a very specific answer to a very broad question from the, or rather from the lens of people in the RPA space. What do they think? So I think this that RPA will continue to exist. It's a bit like Microsoft Word continues to exist even if even if there's Google Docs and everything. There is something that you need to write things on or type things on, and I think the go-to product for most people is something like a Word doc, right? So I would like to take that analogy here from an automation future point of view. So RPA will continue to exist, and it will continue to solve problems for businesses who have not even, I'm telling you, even now, they have heard more about AI with no clue of what it does. They have not done anything within their business around automation. There's still people, working with paper. I know of a company, and I'm talking to that client at the moment. Their finance team has, they print out timesheets, they have a ruler, the scale, and put it on. I've seen the process, and they actually just go line by line and then enter it into the Excel spreadsheet so that they can calculate how much to pay, because these are weekly pay people, staff, field staff. I mean, and this is an organization that employs 4,000 casual staff on a weekly basis, which means 4,000 people come in and go out at any given point in time in a week, because it's the nature of the job is casual. So there's so many organizations that have not even seen what automation is. Forget AI. So I think the future of automation is a combination of AI and automation solutions coming together. The future. The other thing is, I see AI playing a big role in an individual's uh, working ways. Let's put it that way, and I'll give you that example of how I see AI playing a role in organizations where it will be used for more decisioning, provided we are able to solve for the whole security and privacy challenge that we have with Gen AI, and companies are working towards that. So to me, the future is exponential growth for AI and automation based solutions. And but the companies that will succeed, or the people who will succeed in this whole race of AI, are people who, and thanks to my friend who I met last week at the backdrop of the Google Cloud Summit here in Sydney, Direnj. We had a good conversation, and we were laughing about Gen AI, and we both agreed that a lot of people don't even know or realize that the base for AI is data. So unless you have the data and you know where to collect it, how to put it together, warehousing, data lakes, etc., and I'm talking large organizations here, right? It's very hard to build an AI that solves for a lot of problems. You will end up making it will become the same thing where in one large organization you're using UiPath as well as Automation Anywhere as well as Blue Prism, because there are five different departments. Each one have their own right and decision to buy a software of choice. So that's why in one large organization you will have five different RPA software companies selling in their software, and it's being used for the last whatever number of years, and we'll end up seeing the same thing happening in organizations. So I think, yeah, so that to me, so I see that happening, the chaos as well as a structured approach. So some will succeed with the structured approach, some will use it as quickly as they would like to deploy it, because they have a FOMO that they don't want to miss out on something new. And then there's the rest of the world which has not even seen what automation does, forget AI.
That's true. That's true. There are lot many opportunities yet to yet to be digitalized, or like a simple automation where I mean, as you called out, they are still following the paper based old school stuff. So how I perceive is like AI will be working hand in hand, or it will complement RPA. So RPA bots will still continue to exist, because there's no other mechanism how you pull out data and dump that data in other system or do a repetitive kind of work. AI can, you can infuse your AI solution to have some decision making, or to trigger human in the loop concepts, but still that your backend jobs, right, where you want to get data or based on some rules and the repetition of your process, still I mean RPA would be used. Yeah, it can happen that there would be a lot of cost optimizations, or as you see, like there are a lot of open source vendors also trying their hand and scaling up in RPA space. So that might happen as a part of cost reduction. Maybe there might be a shift, or like, but RPA as a concept would still continue to exist, and that's
Yeah,
that's my take.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. It has been wonderful conversing with you. I mean, we touch base upon a lot of topics. With that, I would probably want you, like, as a follow up question, like, what would be your advice to aspiring professional who are seeking to get into this field of automation, AI, and RPA, and get success?
Okay, first advice is be curious. I use this word always. Don't kill your curiosity. I think AI will at some point kill our curiosity, or our, the younger generation's curiosity, because curiousness leads us to learn about new things and gain knowledge about new things. So be curious about how things work, why they work, and that will lead you to a path around, digging deeper into each of those things. And as there's a new term nowadays, like double clicking into things. Curiosity, number one. Second, I'd say enhance your technical skills. If you are in the technical space or whatever space you are, always look at how can you do the next thing. Can you Very simple way of looking at it, the way I always look at what and how I have grown in my career is make yourself redundant. You should assume that you will not have your job in 2 years
Mm-hmm.
from now. So what will you do? You need to find another job. I'm saying, when I say find another job, I mean you need to be doing something different than what you're doing now, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to do something now for this to become an autopilot, so that you can do something different, or continue to manage this on autopilot, and be able to do more things in 2 years from now. So make yourself redundant. The only way to make yourself redundant is by learning more, and exploring newer things. I think Bill Gates said this, right? You should spend at least 5 hours a week. I don't know what the number was, but 5 hours a week in learning. I don't do 5 hours a week of learning, but I do spend a lot of time reading through stuff online. Wherever, where every day I think I spend probably an hour and a half on LinkedIn just reading through people's post comments. That leads me to a link. I go and search, find something out, learn something, then talk to someone else the next day, or in the following days, and then join the dots together, then try and explore a bit more. So give yourself the time. A lot of people say we're too busy traveling, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Get rid of this gaming thing. I mean, there are a lot of youngsters who play games, right? Imagine the amount of time you spend. So find your time. We don't realize how much time we actually have to ourselves. We're just wasting it somewhere, where instead of taking a small piece out of it to enhance our own learning, our own skill sets. So I think that is what, and finally, especially because I'm from India, and especially for people who have reached out to me in the past, etc. Make yours when you, I think language, yes, try and get a good control over the language. Forget the accent. No one, I don't care about accents. I like to believe mine is a neutral accent, and I don't care what accent you have. But prove your communication skills. It's very important, because if you're not able to articulate what you've done, how you've done things, it becomes very hard for you to step up the ladder in your role. So yes, technical skills are very, very important, but at the same time, you have to work on your social skills, which is being able to interact with people, being able to write the right way. And I hate people, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to me who are hiring. If you are a person who sends an email to a job application by just attaching your CV and not writing anything in the email, please don't expect to get hired. That's the worst way you can, that shows that you don't want to learn. You're just trying your luck. So don't leave it to luck. Work hard,
To this,
study.
I sorry to cut you, but to this, I remember one funny conversation where there was one job posting on LinkedIn, and people were in the comment just writing, "I am interested. I am interested." I mean,
Exactly.
what they expect someone to see all the comments and personally reach out to you? It's not. It's other way
Exactly.
around always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to work hard. There's no free lunch. Keep learning. Learning is the only way. And again, there's no limit to how technically sound you can become. Right? You can keep learning new things. But at the same time, you have to build your social skills as well. And that's my suggestion to everyone listening and watching.
That's cool. That's cool. Hopefully, it will help the audience. Rajesh, one last question I would have. Like, I keep on getting this query from a few of the developers, like how to search for opportunities outside of India into RPA and automation space. Like, while there are a lot of opportunities in India, but there are few guys who want to have experience working with outside of India companies. Yeah, they want to explore opportunities outside of India, being in India. So, do you have any advice for them or any path they can
Yeah.
follow?
So there are two types of people, or two kinds of. There are two questions here. I'll kind of break that down. So one is finding opportunity to work for an overseas client or on an overseas project while being in your home country, and the second is getting an opportunity to work overseas, as in go overseas and work there for your employer or a client. I would say more employer than client, right? Because the client one is dependent on your company sending you on site. So let's do the finding opportunities overseas while you're in home country. Like I said, I think I've said this multiple times. Your skill set matters, maybe 10%. You'll tick all the boxes of experience, knowledge of the product, you've done so many projects, etc. 90% is how you communicate. Do you have a cover letter? Are you able to explain that? People are still stuck with this old CV where they think if their CV looks fancy, it will catch someone's attention. Trust me, at least in my case, it doesn't. I look at what's written in the CV versus how it looks. So being able to communicate, and therefore try new ways of reaching out to recruiters or people who are hiring. That could be a video. They don't know you. There's no picture of you on the CV, right? So why don't you use the LinkedIn option if you're doing it via LinkedIn, or create a video of yourself saying this is me, so that they can see you, right? And they'll see that, okay, this is the person who I may be would like to work with because this person speaks like this and looks like this, whatever, right? I don't, it's not about looks, but I'm just saying that that makes it personalized and it shows that you put in the effort and how serious you are about the opportunity, right? So they can, because they see you, there's a bit of trust that I know who I'm going to give this work. So that's one way of getting more opportunities to work for an overseas client while you're in your country. For people who are trying to find, and again, classic example, we post jobs, we clearly mention this is only for people who are based in, but there are, you will not believe, for one job post, there are 400 people who apply. I sometimes think they have bots that as soon as there's a job post, they apply. It applies. The bot applies. They don't. When you call them, they're like, "Oh, which one did I apply for?" Which means you're just all you're doing is applying for 20 jobs a day, and you don't even know which one you apply for. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's a strict no-no. Um, the first thing about working overseas or being able to go overseas is to know the working rules of the country. A lot of people don't even think about it. You need to have the right to work in the country. So first find out what is the immigration policy of that country. Do they allow people to come and work? Do they offer a work visa, permanent residency? In the case of Australia, Canada, etc., right? Singapore has work permits and so on. So first look at that angle, see whether that will allow you, and don't do a short. Don't try to. Don't find a shortcut. There is a way. It'll take a couple of years, 3 years, whatever. But once you get it, then you're sorted. So look at the immigration policies of the country, how they allow for people to come in and work, on what basis, etc., etc. Then you reach out, and then there are companies who will put it in their job post, excuse me, whether they can sponsor or not. And if they say it can't sponsor, there's no point. Don't waste your time. Rather use that time on learning about how you can create a pathway for you to move overseas, lock, stock, and barrel, rather than hoping that someone will hire you, then sponsor. Imagine the amount of work the company will have to do to get you to their country and to work.
Mhm.
You have to leave your family, or you might be married, you have to move your, move with your immediate family. It's a lot of hard work. So, and for what job, right? Is there a scarcity of people in the country that they can't find that talent in their own country? If not, then maybe you're lucky, right? So first, so look at what the immigration policies are, understand that, and then see if you fit the role. And then comes the same point that I mentioned: how well you communicate, how do you portray yourself, how are you able to articulate what you've done. It should be a combination of your CV as well as yourself presenting it, if you get a chance to be interviewed, or through your cover letter. Again, you can use chat gpt, but what's your flavor in it, right? Put your flavor in it, be honest, and I think honesty works always.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great piece of advice, Rajesh. It was wonderful, Rajesh, having you on the show and going through all that discussion. Hopefully, it will add value to the audience as well, whoever listens to this podcast. I would like to thank you again for taking out time from your busy schedule and accepting my invite for to be on this show.
No, thank you for the opportunity, Dipendra. I know you've been chasing me for a while for this. Finally, we are here and we're doing this. So I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to share my thoughts and views. I'm happy to do so in any forum. And thanks. So thank you for doing the hard work, because this is outside your day job. And again, you are a great example that people should learn from. That you have to put in the hard work, hard yards, find the time to pursue something that you believe in, and it will reap you the results. So thank you for the opportunity to be on this show with you. I've really enjoyed. It actually helps as well to take out everything that I have in my mind as well and heart. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and I wish all your viewers good luck in a successful career and successful deployments of automation or AI or whatever they want to deploy within their organization or business.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would like to wish you all the best, Automator, all the best to finding new clients, new opportunities, new engagements, and thrive in the career.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Yeah, you too. Bye bye.